Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Neon Jones. This evening's topic, I'm going to talk about postpartum depression, symptoms, and risk factors. Postpartum depression is also known as PPD for short. Now, it is very common for women to experience the baby blues. What goes along with the baby blues? Well, women will feel stressed, sad, tired, anxious, lonely, or even weepy following a birth of their baby. But for some women, 1 in 7 experience a much more serious mood disorder known as postpartum depression. Now, unlike the baby blues, PPD doesn't go away on its own. It could take days or even months after delivering a baby. Now, it could last weeks or months if left untreated. Now, PPD can make it hard for a woman to get through the day and function properly. It can affect their ability to take care of the baby or themselves. Now, PPD can affect any woman. Women with easy pregnancies or problem pregnancies, first-time mothers, mothers with one or more children, women who are married, women who are not, regardless of income, age, race, or ethnicity, culture, or education. Now, the symptoms of PPD, or the warning signs, are different for everyone. However, they do include a loss of pleasure or interest in things used to enjoy, including sex, eating much more or much less than you usually do. Now, that could be an eating disorder, or it could be bulimia and or anorexia, anxiety, all or most of the time, or even panic attacks, racy, scary thoughts, feeling guilty or worthlessness by blaming yourself, excessive irritability, anger or agitation, and even mood swings, sadness, crying uncontrollably for long periods of time, fear of not being a good mother, fear of being left alone with the baby, misery, the inability to sleep, sleeping too much, difficulty falling or staying asleep, disinterest in the baby, family, and or friends, difficulty concentrating, remembering details, and making decisions, thoughts of hurting yourself or the baby. Now, if these warning signs or symptoms last longer than 2 weeks, you may need to seek help. Whether your symptoms are mild or severe, recovery is possible with proper treatment. Now, the risk factors. Well, with every mental disorder that I have done on YouTube, there's always going to be some risk factors involved. Now, some of the risk factors with PPD include a change in hormone levels after childbirth, previous experience of depression or anxiety, family history of depression or mental illness, stress involved in caring for a newborn and managing new life's changes, having a challenging baby who cries more than usual is hard to comfort, or whose sleep and hunger needs are irregular and hard to predict. Having a baby with special needs, and I'm talking about a child who was born premature, had medical complications and illnesses, first time motherhood, very young motherhood, or even older motherhood. And I'm talking about 37 or make it 36 and older. Other emotional stressors, such as the death of a loved one or family problems, financial or employment problems, isolation and lack of social support. Now, how common is PPD? Well, again, as I stated before, up to 1 in 7 women experience PPD. For half of the women diagnosed with PPD, this is their first episode of depression. About half of the women are later diagnosed with PPD, may have begun experiencing symptoms during pregnancy, so it is important to seek help early. Getting help can make all the difference for you as a woman, your baby, and of course your family. Now, what can you do? Let me give you that information. Well, when it comes to any mental disorder, Do not face PPD, just like any other mental disorder. Don't face it alone. Seek help from a psychologist or any other licensed mental health provider. Contact your doctor or other primary health care providers. Talk openly about your feelings with your partner, other mothers, friends, and or relatives. Join a support group for mothers. Ask your healthcare provider for suggestions if you can't find one. Find a relative or close friend who can help you take care of the baby. Get as much rest or sleep as you can. If you have to ask for more help with the baby, if you can't rest even when you want to, tell your primary healthcare provider. As soon as your doctor or other primary healthcare provider says it's okay, take walks and get some exercise. Get some meditation, yoga, acupuncture, other holistic healing venues such as hypnosis. That will also help as well. Try not to worry about unimportant tasks. Be realistic about what you can really do while you are taking care of a new baby. Because taking care of a child, I don't care how many children you have, I don't even care if you are married or you are single. The task of taking care of a child, especially when you don't have any money, it is very daunting and challenging. And this is why you have some women, and I'm going to get into that after I go over this article, because you have a number of young ladies having children that they can't take care of, and they do get stressed down, and they develop postpartum depression. Now, also, cut down on less important responsibilities. Now, remember this, ladies. Postpartum depression is not your fault. It is real, but it is treatable. It's a psychological disorder, just like any other mental health issue. Again, if you have it, it's not your fault. It is real, but treatable. It's a treatable psychological disorder. Seek help. Don't wear your pride on your sleeve. Also, this is very important. If you're having thoughts of suicide and even hurting yourself or the baby, this is where you need to take action now. Place the baby in a safe place like a crib. Call a friend or family member for help if you need to. And if you really have those suicidal thoughts, definitely call the suicide hotline. Now, when it comes to postpartum depression and going back to taking care of a child, I can tell you, as a man, I'm not a woman, but as a man, it's a daunting task, especially when you have to do other tasks like provide for the child and the family. So I know what a woman is going through, especially if she's had a child for the first time. Now, as a man, I don't go through the pain of having a child during a natural birth or a cesarean, but her moods are going to change. Her moods change when she is pregnant. So you can imagine what you have to go through after she has the baby. But basically what a woman needs is support. And this is why I encourage a lot of the young ladies in your teens and early 20s, don't have children with bums, because what happens is it will set you back. And where are you going to go? You're going to go on the system. And when you go on the system, you're going to be in poverty because you get comfortable being on the system. Don't throw your life away by making a poor decision, having a baby when you're not ready to have a baby, or having a baby with a dude that's a derelict or a bum. Now, the one big case that all of us know of postpartum depression, or PPD, is Andrea Yates. Now, I still have to look at this from a realistic perspective. Andrea Yates was married, but she killed 5 of her children. Now, I'm not going to say she didn't have PPD, because it has come out that she had PPD. But that case should send a message to a number of you young ladies, and even some of you older women out there. Having children at 50 years old is not good, because by the time the child is 18 years old, you're going to be near 70 years old. That child may end up taking care of you when you're in that nursing home. And the child can also develop health effects because you're basically too old to have a child. But going back to postpartum depression, there are a number of cases out there of women who have had it. It's a real symptom. But what I urge every woman to do, after you contact a doctor or a healthcare professional, the best place to go is to a support group. And why do I believe in support groups? Because you're dealing with like-minded people who can help get you through the stress. Because your life is going to change when you have a child. And if you're doing it right, there are going to be challenges regardless. Some mothers cannot pass their baby on to the grandmothers of their children, which is the woman's mother. You have some mothers who are willing to do it, but you're going to be on the opposite side of the coin, where you may be left to going to a daycare. Daycares get expensive, and you can't trust people with your children. You can't even trust your own family members with your children. This is why I don't encourage women to have children when they are younger, or women to have children when they're older. You want to be in a proper position when you have children. Yes, I believe in being married when you have children, but with a number of guys out here, it seems that there is a small minutia of guys who are marriage material. That's what the media says, but you can't always believe what the media says, particularly in the black community, because the media is going to find some way to criticize the black community, even if we were making money. But this is not about the black community. I want to stick to the topic of PPD. It does happen to a number of women, even though we don't hear about it. It's a serious disorder. So what I'm urging all women to do, if you want to be a mother, why don't you contact somebody who has already been a mother? Because number one, having a baby is painful. You can go through a cesarean. But just think about this. One of the main reasons why new mothers go into depression and anxiety, that's because they are not ready to be a mother. They're nervous. They got cold feet. They romanticize about having a baby, but they find out that it isn't as easy as they thought. You have a number of people who will tell you anything to influence you to make a decision that you're not ready for. Having a child is a big decision. And if you cannot provide for the child, that child is going to suffer. And what's going to happen to that child? That child is going to develop anxiety and depression and mental health issues as well. And sometimes we don't think about that, because if you're in a state of depression, and women have a lot more emotions than men, if you're not thinking rationally, you may do harm to that child. So what I'm urging all women to do, don't think about having children with a dusty dude. Don't think about having children when you haven't graduated from high school. Don't think about having children when you're not married. In other words, be stable. If you decide to go on a system, for the most part, you're going to get comfortable and you're going to be in poverty. And that's going to cause a lot of depression. In fact, it's going to cause you as a woman to make even a worse decision, because what you're going to do, you're going to have another one. And you're going to go through the same type of ordeal, because it could affect you even if you had one or more children, no matter at what age. Because now your life really changes by two. And your loss of income, lack of employment, and or education. And once you run out of those options, guess what you're going to do to that baby? You're going to try to kill that baby. And or you may try to kill yourself. So to prevent that, check out support groups. And when I mean support groups, realistic support groups that are going to be, number one, positive, but support groups with women who are going to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. Because you can't trust every support group, you can't trust every daycare. But what you can trust is a good support group, good mental health professionals. And better yet, if you don't want to go into postpartum depression, don't have children before you're ready. Because a child is going to alter your lifestyle. So be smart and get educated about PPD, postpartum depression. It is a real disorder, and it can cause you to hurt your child along with yourself. And it's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Saturday, July 22nd, 2017. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube, so I can continue to give you quality information from an educational and professional, along with a mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in controversy, emotional issues, or debates, nor do I participate in drama and or unnecessary bickering, because to me, that's just a waste of time and it's counterproductive. What I do on my channel is to educate my audience and new viewers on how the real world works. Because just like postpartum depression, if you're not ready to take on a new responsibility without tools, you will fail. It's human nature. But when you listen to this channel, the issues that I talk about are well researched by me, and I give you my own personal experience, because the information, and this is not only powerful, but it's positive and realistic. And what do I tell you about knowledge? Having knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like me to present on this channel, the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show, YouTube, and or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy, no bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed evening.